Hey everyone, it's Ziz here. Welcome to this week's WildStar Insider. I got a lot of cool information for you. Let's jump right in. First thing I want to talk about is performance, specifically for AMD CPUs. Now, I know a lot of people complaining ever since the beginning that there's been some sort of, performance issues, low frame rates, that sort of thing, and they've been working on it. It's been getting a little bit better, but a developer posted on the official forums stating that they have incredibly good news, that an engineer had like a major breakthrough for AMD specific CPUs, and hopefully that should be coming down the pipeline soon. They said keep your fingers crossed, but hopefully it sounds like if you have an AMD CPU, in the future this game should be running a lot better for you. In addition to that, on a side note, there was a post on Reddit where someone gave a little bit of information that for them gave them a huge frames per second boost. They went from like 35 FPS up to like 60, and what they did was, I'll show you here. When you have the game open, you open up the processes, and then you click on, right click on WildStar, set affinity, and then disable Core 0. And what it did was, for this person, their Core 0, because they had like a multi-core CPU, Core 0, which is technically kind of like Core 1. Anyway, it was like super... It was like 95%. It was like peaking out. It was, it was totally used up. And so when they did this, what it did was it spread out the rest of the resources to all the other CPUs, and it helped them a lot. Now, I tried it in multiple places. I tried it out just regular PvE, and I tried it in a city, and it didn't do anything for me. But you can try it. Hopefully it works for you and gets you some better performance. Now, something I thought was kind of funny, talking about updates and performance and people, developers interacting with us customers. Cougar is the director of operations, pretty much like the highest developer employee you'll ever see from Carbine. And there was a post on the official forums, I'll put the link below, and it was someone on the forums called Mirapools, and they were asking, please, they wanted a response. They had a ticket in for 10 days, 10 whole days, right? People are complaining about how tickets are never responded to, and his was in for 10 whole days. He said, please, I just want a response, blah, blah, blah. I love the game. I like it so much. Please, please, please. And Cougar, like the head guy, 4 posts later, just like an hour later, he said, he comes in, he says, hey, I'm between meetings. I just want to drop in and say something. And he says, since you've put this post up, I assume it's okay for us to talk about your account status in public. And then he goes on to talk about how this person's account was reported for botting on multiple different characters multiple times, and how multiple different agents, customer service people for the company, they looked into the issue and they saw that the account was deserving of a permanent ban, that they tried to contact him in-game over and over and over, and then it was absolutely, he was botting, he was AFKing in the game while not even being there at all. And so in addition to that, Cougar goes on to say how this other person kept going back to their ticket and reposting stuff like, oh, please let me play the game, and how they admitted to botting because they were doing homework and all this stuff. They even posted a meme to their ticket like, please let me have the game, and all this stuff. And at the end of it, 2 paragraphs, Cougar ends up saying, you are exactly the problem case players have been pleading for us to remove from our game. We agree with them. And then he goes on to say, sorry that we never responded back to you, but forgive me if we don't prioritize deserved to be banned customers over paying ones right now. So I think it's awesome. I think it's absolutely amazing that developers, they are looking into it multiple times on this account, that when you put in that there's an AFK or a botter, it is reported and it is looked at. I know in game it's kind of a pain in the butt to do it right now. There's not an easy way to click on it, but they are looking at it. They are taking care of it. The problem is being dealt with. It's not perfect, but they are working with it. And this was I think a very professional slap in the face example to everyone for this person, which was pretty funny. And in my book, 2 thumbs up to the Carbine developers and Cougar. Way to go. Now, another update that the developers are doing, which I think is really quick turnaround to see these sorts of changes, which I'm really impressed with. Right now in dungeons, especially when you get to level 50 and people are trying to run dungeons to get really good gear, pretty much the consensus is if you aren't going to get a gold medal, like if you die once, then people just leave. They just give up and they leave because all they're looking to do is get the gold medal run where you go through it without dying, you do it really, really fast, because that gives you the chance to get the best gear. Without that, you couldn't get the top tier gear. Now, Carbine, and a lot of people hate this, especially when you're in a pug, or even not a pug, but anyone, if you're running it and it's like, oh, we didn't get it, let's quit out the whole thing, that kind of sucks. So the change they're making is, as long as you complete it, no matter how long you take, as long as you kill the last boss, you have a chance to roll on like the best gear in the dungeon. But it's really small, right? Like, it's a small little chance to roll, but there's still a possibility. Now, if you do it in a certain period of time, if you get bronze, silver, or gold, it increases the chance, the likelihood of you rolling on that better gear. So I think overall it's really nice. There's some math that was done by someone, one of the players, I'll put another link below, that talks about how technically if you were in like a super organized group and you got a gold run like every time, your loot gain would go down a little bit. But this also means that people who weren't going to get that gold run actually have a chance of getting it now. So I think overall it's an amazing change. I don't have a super hardcore guild that I'm running raids with right now, or dungeons or anything. So pretty much for me, that meant I was never going to get this really great gear. And so I was kind of left out in the cold. Now I might have to run the dungeon 10 times more than these other groups, but at least I still have a chance of getting it, which I think is really, really great. And last thing I want to talk about here are patch notes, the PTR, Public Test Realm, the patch notes that are coming out. Now, there have been some little patches here and there. These are some pretty big patch notes, some big things are changing. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to read through it, because there's a whole bunch of stuff. A couple of things that I noticed that I like. One, they're changing the deserter buff. If you desert a dungeon or PvP battleground, it used to just be 5 minutes, which was pretty quick. I mean, you go to the bathroom, you come back, you're done, you're back in. So it really didn't dissuade anyone from not abandoning their group and just leaving, right? So they're going to change it. In PvE, it's 15 minutes now, from 5 up to 15 minutes. So all those people who were leaving dungeons and adventures and all this stuff, it's 15 minutes now. So I think that's a pretty good deterrent, because usually you could probably finish the dungeon or almost finish it within that 15 minutes anyway. So you might as well just stay and finish. PvP, it's going to be 10 minutes, so from 5 to 10 minutes, which I think is pretty good, because we want more people to be in PvP. You know, we don't want to keep everybody out if they AFK'd or something. But overall, I think that's a really, really good change there. Also, they're going to change the stun animation, the stun icon UI that pops up, and you can also rebind keybinds to break out a stun, because if you hold the button down, you can break out of it. There's changes to that. There's a bunch of class changes, there's dungeon changes, war plot changes, quests, all sorts of changes and bug fixes and updates and stuff like that. So lots and lots of good stuff. Go ahead and check it out down below. Overall, I feel like the game is headed in a really great direction. Because last thing, they are adding the strain drop. I didn't bring that up yet. If you haven't seen it, they've announced it a little while ago. I'll put a link in the description below. Basically, what is a new level 50 zone. It's got a whole storyline to it, quests, all sorts of stuff. There's whole new gear. There's new hoverboard. There's a new emote where like this thing breaks out of your chest, like it's like this strain. So it's really, really cool. Now, obviously, they were working on this before the game launched, but the fact they're coming out with it already, on top of all the content that's already in the game and all the changes they're making really quickly, I think they're doing great. And if they can keep up this pace, I think it's amazing. So so far, I'm really happy. Tell me what you think. Put in your link down below. Put in the comments. How do you feel that it's going? Going good? Going bad? Do you like the game? Are you not liking the game? Haven't even tried it out yet. What do you think of the updates, the patch notes? How do you feel about Cougar telling that guy off that he was a botter and they're glad that he's banned? Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you out there.